Yes, your boy Crypto Blood, and welcome to another episode 2 of Ask the Block, where I answer questions from you, curated by me, and I answer every one of them. Honestly, I'm not even being picky here. So all you have to do is hashtag AskCB in any of my videos, and we'll get it cracking for you. So welcome, guys. Thank you for joining me. I'm having fun doing these episodes here. But today we've got 7 questions. Normally, I think I'll pick around 6 questions at a time. So let's get right into it. I'm excited. Let's see what we got for today. This one is from Financial Freedom CJ on YouTube. He wrote me a thesis paper about 8 pages long. I'm just playing. But he did write a detailed comment here. He says, what percentage of different cryptos are in your portfolio? You don't have to answer that question. I know it's personal. Great video as always. He says, I think Libra will be launched. Regulators will act like they are fighting against it, but money talks. Facebook has lots of it and will get this through somehow. They already eliminated the yuan to show they are listening to regulators. I agree with you on that part. Now, concerning the EOS BP thing, the way the governance is set up is the way it has turned out with the majority of BPs in China. Hopefully, it will get fixed. I really hope that if there is a flaw in the fix and Western BPs end up becoming a majority, there will be an uproar like it is now. I agree with you on that one. It will be sad if people kept mute because they have their favorite BPs. Bitcoin mining pools are mostly in China, and it still has the network effect it has, and the maximalists are not complaining as much. The bigger focus is getting lots of dApps that will bring mass adoption. The average Joe will not worry about the underlying governance or infrastructure. What they care about is that it works as good as the stuff they're using now or better, and maybe they can get paid some tokens from using it. CJ, you bring up a lot of valid points there. I'll get to the question, but I definitely want to give my feedback on some of the other parts you talked about. In particular, the Libra topic. I don't think that they're in bed with the governments, man, because this is a threat to the current monetary policy and system that we have in the Western world. And I'm talking more so about the US and the central banks, those private entities that run our financial system, that essentially prints money, loans it to our governments, and then the whole money conjuring mechanism. Nami Prinz calls it the Mandrake mechanism, and it's true. That's how we continue to fund our own debts, overspend, all of that stuff. So if we have a new currency that is now 5-pronged, it's 5 different fiat currencies now in this basket that's going to make up the Libra, that creates less demand for the US dollar. It was already bad at 3. Okay, so when they added another 2, that dilutes the power of and demand for US dollars even more. So I have to disagree with you on that part. I don't think that they're in bed with the government and that they're acting like they're fighting against each other, because I think this is a real fight, and ultimately the government will win. I don't know what that means for Libra and how it looks if it even ever launches here in the States. I'm still not convinced that that's going to be the case, but yeah, I don't think that's the case with that whole Libra project, man. But I do agree with you that eliminating yuan from their basket of currencies was kind of a wink to the US government, saying, see, we're trying to play on your side. But ultimately, I don't know. I think there are a lot of smart people over at Facebook and this Calibra organization, but you'll be surprised how many smart people don't understand the monetary system, the Federal Reserve. A lot of people do not understand what's going on and how money is created, why we need debt to keep this system going. So this Ponzi scheme has to continue, with US dollars being in the most demand that it can be. And it is. It's at all-time high as far as demand globally for US dollars and treasuries. So that anything that's going to get in the way of that is not a good thing for this system to continue. Second thing you mentioned, which is true as well, about these Chinese block producers on the EOS blockchain. So if you guys don't understand how this delegated proof of stake works, Essentially, there's 21 delegates. Okay, they do all of the heavy lifting. If I'm just keeping it real simple. Then you have hundreds of backup BPs. They get paid a small percentage for being backups. Okay, but they don't get the lion's share that the first 21 get for helping, processing transactions and all of that stuff. And so at this point, it looks like China has colluded, or I shouldn't say China, because it's not the Chinese government, or could be. It actually could be. We don't know. But Chinese BPs are colluding together, or are taking over the top 21. I think they're over 50%. So some people have a problem with that. I don't know why you would have a problem with that. In a free market, you will have collusion, right? So do you want free markets, or do you not? How we can mitigate that in some ways is to reallocate voting power. But as you stated, CJ, Bitcoin's mining, over 51% of it is concentrated in China. So we see the same thing, and the reason is because China is the headquarters for all your hardware, a lot of your technology. They have a different work ethic than we do over here in the United States and other Western cultures. They outwork us, and they're going to take over the world again. the East is going to rise again because of that work ethic. What is Jack Ma, Alibaba CEO? He has that 996 program where you work from 9 to 9, 6 days a week. That's the culture over there. Do we hate on that? Do we throw shade at because they're able to take over the BPs? I understand people's why they're upset, because they're like, hey, we got BPs like EOS New York. I've had Kevin Rose on my show. Very active guy, was active from the beginning. His BP, his company. So you have a few BPs that technically should be in that top 21, because the whole idea of the top 21 is that the ones that contribute the most to the network, meaning creating new dApps or creating hardware or whatever it is, they should be rewarded by votes from the other people or participants in the network to keep them, the top 21 be a nice concentration of quality BPs that contribute to the network and the ecosystem. So that's not happening right now. Again, this is free markets, and in free markets you have a lot of collusion. That's why people try to make regulations. So it's kind of a catch-22. But to answer your question, to finally get to your question, percentage of cryptos, different cryptos that I have in my portfolio, I won't break it down totally, but I will say Bitcoin may be shocking, but Bitcoin constitutes maybe 20%, 18% of my portfolio. It's a small amount. And the reason is I think blockchain is bigger than Bitcoin. And what I mean by that is ultimately the world will use blockchain more than they use Bitcoin. Okay, the idea and concept of blockchain is bigger. And so what I mean by that is blockchain includes many other tokens and platforms, smart contract blockchains. And I'm betting more on blockchain and investing more in blockchain than in Bitcoin, which has only one utility, which is a transfer, store of wealth, so on and so forth. I consider it gold 2.0, a digital form of gold. And that's where we sit with Bitcoin. So, if someone has overweighted in Bitcoin versus, all the other tokens out there, I think they have it wrong. Their thought about cryptos and blockchain and Bitcoin is wrong. They're in error because it's bigger than Bitcoin. It is bigger than Bitcoin. Bitcoin started it all, but it will not end it all. Maximalists, I have no understanding why they think the way they do. Now, people have swayed back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's dominance is roughly around 70%, 67, 70% right now. But that's just early ebb and flows. As you see the cryptocurrency community, you see blockchain, the industry mature, the maturation of blockchain, Bitcoin will take up less and less of that pie. And again, that's what I'm banking on. So 15 to 20% in Bitcoin. And then I've got the rest allocated in various tokens that I think will have a strong possibility of making it in the next 5 to 10 years. Hope I answered that properly for you there, CJ. Thanks again for that one. Next question, my man UK Ranja. He's always sending me hot songs to play on my 2 Satoshi videos. He asks, could you get Alex Machineski of Celsius on for an interview? So let's take a look at this, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know who Alex Machineski is. So let's do a quick search on this guy really quickly. I've heard of Celsius for sure, but Alex Machineski, I have not. So he must be someone big, because they're asking him what his net worth is. Alex is a serial entrepreneur and founder of 7 startups, raising more than $1 billion and exiting over $3 billion. Man, that's he's got some skills. He's definitely got some skills here. Let's see what they say from Crunchbase about this guy, Alex Machineski. Organizations, we got Dubset, Media Holdings, a couple of different ones here. See if I can find something else out about this guy. I'm looking at his face. He looks familiar. I feel like I've seen him on CNBC before. Celsius Network. So this is a crypto, lend crypto or borrow against your crypto type of platform. Celsius, now that's ringing a bell. Okay, all right, 2.2 billion in loan originations. Cool, man. I'm gonna do some research on the guy. I love interviewing individuals that are very successful. I like getting in their heads and figuring out what makes them tick, because they're unique individuals. I was watching an interview the other day. It's a few parts that he chopped it up in. That's how Vlad does. But Vlad TV had Dan Pena on, and I know Dan from London Real London. He did an excellent interview years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, on Real London. I love that show. I used to watch it a lot. I think he's kind of changed his model, the guy who hosts that show. You don't get a lot of real content. You got to kind of pay for it now, and it's behind these, he's trying to monetize a lot on it now. But Real London had an interview, a full interview with Dan Pena. Very interesting guy. Real raw, tells it how it is. And he made some really key points about people who are like billionaires and stuff, and how they work. They outwork everyone else. If you work an extra 10 hours a week, you're going to outwork the person that isn't working that extra 10. I agree with that to a certain extent. You can't say I'm going to work an extra 10 hours mopping or being a janitor or something like that. The output, that extra 10 won't get you anything there. But if you put those extra 10 hours in the right direction to build enterprises and businesses and stuff, I definitely believe that. But I'll try to reach out to him, or if any of you have some contacts, I'll definitely love to have him on and talk just everything, crypto, non-crypto stuff. Thanks for that, man. I will definitely try to reach out to Mr. Machineski from Celsius for an interview. Thanks for that, UK Ranja. Next question from my man, Diversified City. He asked me, article from September 19th, title, Is Bitcoin Thursday Coming? Very interesting timing, he says, while JP Morgan silver market riggers are being arrested and charged. To boil it all down to one question, can we believe blockchain with open source and distributed ledger or public records will expose and phase out the manipulation and rigging of markets over the next decade? Would love to hear your thoughts on that. Unfortunately, bro, I would love to believe that. I don't think it's going to happen, actually. I was talking to the CEO of EOS Detroit actually today, and we were just talking about blockchain regulation. We were talking about, how Block One tried to play by the books. The SEC ended up still getting them for $25 million, and how many of these projects are aligning with the government to somewhat, we want to quote unquote say, comply with them in their regulatory frameworks. Bitcoin, cryptos inherently will actually allow them to trace us even more if we don't educate ourselves on how to properly use these blockchains in a way where we can keep our anonymity, keep our privacy. You know, just because you want to stay private doesn't mean you're doing anything illegal. They've tried to brainwash us to believe that type of stuff. So, and what me and Rob were talking about is essentially they're going to marginalize, and they can do this, you know, start tainting coins and saying, okay, if your coins are tainted, then you can't send them to XYZ exchange to cash out, like a Coinbase or a Kraken or Binance US. They can start to kind of section off pools that they don't approve of or haven't been regulated, you know, like mining pools and stuff. So they're gonna like try to marginalize all the darknet operations that cryptos were birthed out of, and they're gonna try to really taint those coins and force everyone to play with the regulated space over here. And so, you know, mixing theoretically can help with that, but Bitcoin is, you know, theoretically not fungible, fully fungible. So that is a problem. That is a problem for Bitcoin. However, there are many other privacy coins, privacy tokens. You got Zcash, Zcoin. I personally like the Mimblewimble coins like Grin and Beam. Those are, you know, really legit ways of anonymizing your coins and your transactions. POS, which is a token on top of the EOS.io blockchain. That's a great one that, you know, is going to be exciting to see their development and everything. But again, they may marginalize those individuals. So if you're holding privacy coins, you won't be able to touch any exchange. FATFA, which is a regulatory agency that's trying to get, you know, all these crypto exchanges to comply. And if they don't, then they're marginalized and you can't basically operate and exist in a, if you want to say, quote unquote, legit way. You're starting to see that happen now, even down to the hardware wallets. They're going after hardware wallets to say, hey, you must comply. If we need to find the identity out of a hardware user, you have to comply with us. Binance, this just out a couple of days ago, they're integrating full AML and KYC to comply with FATFA rules. You see it happening left and right, guys. So I don't think so, man. And if you're playing in that whole open source distributed public ledger, you're marginalized and you're looked at as something, you're doing something nefarious and you're doing something illegal, underground, black market. And most people don't want to have that stigma on them. All right. So no, man, I don't see it happening because the sheeple, they're not even going to push back at that. They're going to fall in line with whatever narrative is pushed. I've seen it so many times, and I think I'm just done with believing that we're going to have a utopia of just freedom. You know what I mean? Distributed public ledgers with just gobs of freedom. Now, at least this go around with crypto, with blockchain, this new age technology, you can operate like, you know, on top of EOS. It doesn't matter how much scrutiny governments put on Block 1. Block 1 only helps maintain what is already out there and, you know, suggests updates that everyone else is a consensus will either update to, upgrade to, or not. And if we have issues, we do a side chain or a sister chain and start our own thing if we have to. So the infrastructure, like an Ethereum, like a Bitcoin, EOS, whatever blockchain you want to pick other than those centralized ones like Ripple, and we've got the Hedra Hashgraph, that's very centralized. I think those ones that are so-called publicly run or distributed, it's layers to it. Layer 0 is hypothetically open. right? No one can control it. But you're not really the power in where most business and everything is going to be done and conducted. Most dApps and all of that are going to be layers above that. So that at those layers above is where governments can come and attack. So we have to really work on trying to get those DAOs, those DAOs. If we can somehow get DAOs really going where no one person owns a company. And so I think with blockchain, we at least have that possibility. The possibility of averting censorship is really strong, and it really no other form of technology exists for us to do that. So I'm happy in that manner, but at the same time, I think most will fall in line, and we won't see that utopia that many years ago all of us thought was going to be the case. I know at least when I got into cryptos, they weren't even talking about Bitcoin, CNBC, or any of them. So it was really a libertarian kind of F the bank movement. So that energy is not here anymore. So if I have to go off of the trend, no, the trend is not toward having that decentralized, distributed, autonomous environment. It just isn't, man. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. But thanks for the question. A very good one. Definitely a very good one. Next question from my man Crypto Minded. He says, how many of these cryptos do you think are actually dead and we just don't know it yet? A lot. I would say 98% of them. Crypto Minded, I would say 98% of them are dead for sure, because listen to people who have experience with altcoins going dead. Don't listen to people that just got into it in 2017 and they're telling you this coin is going to do this coin is doing that. Not saying that they can't be right. For sure you can be. A lot of smart people got in 2017, 18, whatever. But I'm just saying, just from past experience, I've seen altcoin 1.0 that season, those 100, 200 coins, 150 coins die. Right? There used to be a website. I don't know if it's even up anymore, but it used to be like something like deadalts.com or something like that, and it just showed a laundry list of coins that died. And so what a dead coin looks like is essentially volume ceases to exist. It's not the price. I tell people this all the time. It's not the price you should be looking at to gauge a healthy ecosystem, a healthy market. You want to look at volume, right? So if you have volume of 50,000 and it used to be millions, you have volume of 10,000 and it used to be millions, that's your indication that that coin is dead, right? It doesn't matter what the price is. If you don't have anyone, if the last trade for that coin, meaning the last person that ever wanted to buy that coin, is at $150, then that's where the coin dies, at $150, because there's no more people on the buying side that's willing to buy that particular coin. There are no players that exist, only sellers. That's when a coin dies, at that very point. So I think 98% of them are dead, man, and it's just the whole frenzy of speculation, speculative aspect of this game is very much still there and will continue to be. But I think over the next 2 to 3 years, maybe even less than that, 1 to 3 years, you're going to see many of those coins stop trading. That's when they're dead, when they stop trading, not the price. They don't go to zero. 9 times out of 10, they don't go to zero. They stop trading. So yeah, that's my answer for that one, bro. Thanks for that. That was a good question. Next question, my man, Little Troll Box. He's an avid follower of Crypto Blood. He's always commenting, always sending in song requests. Thank you, man, for your support. He asked top 5 alts, and then he says top 5 rappers. He probably just wanted the top 5 rappers, but slid the altcoins in there so they would be crypto related. So my top 5 altcoins. Wow, that's a good one, man. I would probably say top 5 in no order would be, well, you said altcoins, so can't include Bitcoin in that one. So EOS, I'm really vibing with this whole Mimble Wimble as I talked about earlier. So I'll just say, I think Grim is a little bit more popular, I believe. It could be Beam, I can't remember, but Grim, I've got a couple of both of those, but I need to get more. But Grim would be one. Binance Coin for sure. I would also say Telos. Douglas is doing his thing over there. That community is on fire. And the last one, I would have to say Algorand. Algo. Honestly, yeah, Algorand. I'm very excited about that project. That guy who founded that Algorand is a genius. He's actually the guy who created ZK Snarks, that protocol that Zcoin uses, Zcash uses, and a litany of other anonymous coins use. He knows what he's doing. I believe even Facebook tried to acquire his technology and have it be private before he went open source with it. So I like that. I definitely like that. So I'm gonna go with Algorand for the 5th one. But again, that's just off the top of my head. There are a handful of coins I could put in that top 5, man. So those are the 5 that I can come up with off the top of my head. Thank you for that one. And the other part of his question, top 5 rappers. Ooh, I don't know if you guys saw my interview with Hotep Jesus. He's a very smart guy. Controversial for sure, but I love talking to smart individuals. He said he put in there Busta Rhymes. I never heard anyone put Busta Rhymes in the top 5 rappers, but I'm gonna go with Tupac, Jadakiss, Nipsey Hussle. I wasn't a real Biggie fan, but I'm gonna throw Biggie in there. He was a good rapper. Biggie, and this is probably gonna shock you, Big Pun. Big Pun had bars, man. That guy is probably underrated in many people's lists. So those are my 5 right there, bro. Thank you for that. That was a good one. And again, that list is going to change too. Every time you ask me, I'll put it to you this way. Tupac is definitely always going to be in that top 5 rotation. I would say Nipsey, I'm probably going to always be in that top 5 rotation, and Jadakiss. Those 3, the last 2, I can mix in and out. I mean, you can even put Eminem in there. Like, I don't listen to Eminem, but if I have to lyrically, as a rapper, his delivery, his cadence, the guy is a genius. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that list can change a lot. That list could definitely change a lot. Next question from a man, Air Coins Lee. He said, when we reach $100,000 Bitcoin, do you really believe it will be good for society? I personally believe it will bring the purge. No coiners, the governments, etc. will try to get your BTC by force. Do we really want to be our own banks and hold our keys? A crypto society may bring dystopia instead of utopia. Wow, good point there, man. To be honest with you, I don't think it's gonna get that bad. And if we're in a situation where we got a purge going on and it's just straight chaos out here, will we even be using cryptos? I don't like, if we get to that extreme, we ain't using cryptos, bro. We're not using cryptos. We're using some physical form of currency, because you gotta think, if it's chaos everywhere, how the hell is the internet maintained? Who has Verizon towers running? Ain't nobody working at Verizon. So you think about it that way. I don't think if we get to that point, we're not using cryptos. We're using some physical form of money. And we know that money can be whatever we come to a consensus on money is. If we go back to it being seashells, in a scenario like that, then it's seashells. If we go to it, it being cans of corn or bullets, whatever. But it'll probably be something physical, in my opinion. $100,000 Bitcoin would not be the point where we're in a frenzy, in a dystopia, and things are just all crazy and awry. No. $1 million, possibly. But I always tell people, Think of it like this: in a scenario where we have $1 million Bitcoin. When you say $1 million per Bitcoin, what does that really mean? That means you're basically pricing it in against something, right? So $1 million US to get one Bitcoin. That means that USD fiat currency is worth nothing. At that point, if Bitcoin is worth $1 million to the current USD fiat currency, we're probably no longer using that particular USD fiat currency. They've created a new one and started the Ponzi scheme all over again, if that makes sense. So you wouldn't even want those coins, those fiat tokens or fiat paper at that price. You wouldn't even want it to be worth toilet paper. So I don't think you will ever probably see Bitcoin priced in whatever the most used fiat at the time. I don't think we'll ever see it be at $1 million. Maybe if we, I don't know if you guys follow Jim Willie, but he's always had the theory that we're going to go from the U.S. government is going to create a second coin. And the Scheisse dollar, which is what we use right now, would just be used internally. And we would create a new fiat dollar that will be used externally for trade and stuff. So I don't think we'll at $100,000 Bitcoin in our fiat US dollar today is possible. That probably will happen. Another 10x from there though, if we get to that point, we wouldn't even be using the US dollar we use today. So just think of it that way. That's my opinion on that. Thank you for that question. Very good one as well. Last question for today we've got from a man, the Tech Geek. He said, name 3 people you would like to interview and why. Wow. I'm going to keep it, I guess, crypto related, right? If I had to pick 3 people, for sure, it would be my man, Andreas Antonopoulos, simply because he was the person I went to when I found Bitcoin. Like, he was the only source of information about Bitcoin at that time on the internet, on YouTube. He was putting countless hours in talking about Bitcoin, doing speeches, so on and so forth. So he's the godfather of explaining cryptos to the masses. People talk about Roger Ver. Maybe Roger Ver was boots to the ground, helping in communities and all over the country, or the world, I should say, in various third world countries, trying to get people to do Bitcoin and stuff. But Andreas Antonopoulos, I think, has a firm understanding of the paradigm shift from the old monetary system to what we have today with blockchain and cryptocurrencies. So I would want to definitely get him on, and I'll probably do that at some point. Second person, I would have to go with Mike Novogratz. That's a guy, billionaire guy, came over into Bitcoin, went heavy in it, I think 2017, early 17. Smart guy. I've seen an interview or 2 of him talking about Bitcoin. I think it was on Bloomberg. He had a sit down with one of the Bloomberg anchors and talked about Bitcoin. And he talked about it in a way that I said, okay, this guy gets it. So I would like to have him on. Third person, we'll say Dan Larimer. I would say Dan Larimer. That guy is underrated as far as his intellect in understanding Bitcoin, crypto, just the whole blockchain idea. I mean, this guy used to talk to Satoshi himself. Okay, he used to have debates and arguments with Satoshi himself. The guy knows what he's doing. He's if you guys don't know who Dan Larimer is, he started BitShares, went on to do Steam It, and now he's his baby, where he said this is his ultimate goal, and what he wanted to finish his career doing was EOS. He's the CTO of Block One. So yeah, Dan Larimer would be definitely one I want to get on. I surely will try to do that at some point as well. So those are my 3 people. Hope you guys enjoyed those questions. Very good questions this episode. Again, I always enjoy doing this, and I'm having a lot of fun with this, so I'm definitely keeping this going. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, though. I need you to do that, and click that bell, too. Don't forget to do that. Ask the Block, episode number 2. I'm out of here, people. Holla.
These rappers is whack.